Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Jerry Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Jerry Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jerry Petito Show on HamiltonRadio.net. Listen, once again, I bring to you an incredible guest, okay? Incredible guest. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to have my guest introduce himself. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about my book, and then I'm going to read my guest's poem. How about that? Tell everyone who you are, sweetie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dominic Costa, an actor from Philadelphia, and I'm here on the Jerry Petito Show, ready to have a good time and have a good conversation.
So everyone out there who knows me knows I'm the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, listen, 28 years ago I was a dumbass. But 28 years later, today, I am now a smartass. That's right. So, you know, I like to have all my guests help people out there in need. And I hope that somebody out there gets touched tonight by this show. We're going to be talking about a lot of great things. If anybody out there needs help with addiction and you message me, I will send you my book for free. Okay, guys? So that's that. This is for you.
Thank you very much.
All right, sweetheart. So listen,
This is great.
I'm going to read your poem so
Okay.
we'll get a little idea of who you are. Dom Costa. My guest here today is really quite cool. Dominic Costa is nobody's fool. This young man's an actor. I met him at a premiere. Backfire was the movie. The red carpet was there. My first red carpet, I'm glad we met. Please invite me to a movie set. He had a co-lead role as the Mafia Don's son. He disrespected Dad. At Don was pointed a gun. Don't yell at your dad, said by one of the guys as he pointed it at him, anger in Dad's eyes. If you want to know what happened, Backfire, you should see. 2 months on Netflix, it trended for a reasonable fee. Born and raised in Philly, and he loves to work out, Dom also loves to read, a brain and looks, no doubt. A college degree you have in philosophy, it's true. A practicing Buddhist, Taoist, Dom, so what else can you do? You have 3 favorite people, and you love boxing and UFC. Robert De Niro and Robin Williams, but your number one is Bruce Lee. Long drives and bridges you like to take. If you get depressed, that drive, please don't take. One of your favorite shows was also one of mine. I know I now own all the shows. Friends, that show was fine. I hear you have a tattoo that we'd all love to see. A Spartan shield or pizza. I'll know, just show me. Your first experience at acting, with 0 experience you had, got you a lead role in a film in spite of you thinking you're bad. You used to be a rap artist. 2 underground labels were signed. Do any of your acting roles ever want your rap music combined? I'm really glad you reached out. An open invite I gave you. You were one of my faves, a smart-ass skinny, it's true. I also want to thank you for giving your teacher's name, my grandson Christian's dream, acting school, and movie fame. Thank you, Dom, for coming. You have honored me today. When you get rich and famous, backstage passes on Broadway.
I got you.
That's for you, sweetheart.
Wow, that was a beautiful poem. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was really good. Yeah.
So, Matt, check it out. You have some friends watching. Hey, Matt Daly is watching.
What's up, my man? How you
baby.
feeling?
So, Matt, you can call in and say hello to him, 609-807-2492. Doc G, you can put the phone number up there. Yes, we can put the phone number up there. So, 609-807-2492. Matt, if you want to call in and say hi, sweetie. So, let's talk about your career, all right? Let's talk about where it began and what you were doing and now where you've progressed to. Let's talk about like your rap and all that.
Okay, yeah, so
And there you can look into there because they
okay.
want to see your pretty face.
Yeah, so when I was 15 years old, I started rapping. I was walking down the street, and me and my friend were just having some random teenage discussion on whether we thought rap music was hard, and I guess none of us really knew what we were talking about. And he asked me, and I was like, I don't know, I think it's easy. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it is hard. And somewhere along the line, he goes, do you think you could do it? God rest his soul. He passed away when I was like 25.
Oh.
So I was like 15, and when he asked me, he said, do you think you could do it? And I was like, I don't know. And then like a minute later, we're walking down the street, and I thought of this rhyme, and I was like, yo, Chris, check this out. And then I started spitting this rhyme, and I still remember it. And I was like, I walk where I want, when I want. Nobody wants to front because I just don't taunt. I go straight to action, breaking mother effers up in the fractions. And then, it was basic, but it was cool. And I said, what do you think? And he was like, man, that was so dope. He goes, you just started that now? I was like, yeah. He goes, I was like, you really like it? You don't think it sucks? And he goes, no. And he really liked it. And before you knew it, I just started freestyling all the time. And I kind of became known as a really good freestyle rapper. And then
And the word dope is good.
Yeah, dope is good. Dope is definitely positive, yeah. And it kind of became my thing, and I was just a really good freestyle artist. I mean, I was always in the art. I always drew and stuff, and I always wanted to be an actor, honestly, since I was a kid. And I kind of just never got around to it. And then I fell in love with hip-hop, my first love. And when I was 19, I became a songwriter. I was still freestyling, but I actually started writing songs. And before you know it, I was with a couple underground labels, recorded a couple albums, did a lot of shows, performed at the Trocadero. They closed down recently. I performed on the main stage and the balcony. I've been in my fair share of ciphers, and then I started acting at going on almost 7 years now. Yeah, and now I still love hip-hop, but I fell in love with acting, and I love it more than anything. And it's kind of funny. Sometimes you come full circle in life because it was my original dream as a kid, and here I am now,
I have to say something about that really quick because you just said something that kind of rang a bell with me. So you just said how it came full circle. It was your original dream as a kid.
Yeah.
I used to be, I don't want to say the word yelled at, but I was always reprimanded, especially in school and all, because I always wanted to save the underdog.
Yeah.
And I used to steal kids that I thought were poor and bring them home because I ate lunch at home every day. We walked home. And my mom used to want to kill me. She'd be like, we'll feed them, but we got to bring them back.
Right.
And full circle, here I am helping people. So
That's
what you're
awesome.
saying is incredible, like what happened to you, right? It is full circle,
Yeah.
right?
I think sometimes if something, I definitely believe in a higher being. I don't want to get all religious. I guess it's kind of a combination of Buddhism, spirituality, and just, my own version of what I think God is. And I think, some things are meant to be, and, it's not, your fate isn't predetermined, but, someone's trying to lead you like those pebbles along the way, like follow this path. And, like I said, I always wanted to be an actor, and we kind of found each other. And, when I was a kid, before Netflix, before my movie got on there, right? When it was Blockbuster, they literally had to kick me out because I would wait till the movie I wanted was returned. Because back in the day, whoever's too young to know.
And he's only 35, guys. It's not like he's that old. Okay, he's talking like, I love this. Go ahead.
Well, I was like, I would be in Blockbuster like 8, 9, 10 years old, and I'd wait for someone to return the movie I wanted to see. You had to wait, and then you'd have to wait because if some jerk didn't rewind it, they had to rewind it for you. Or I'd say, I'll take it home and rewind it myself. I want to see it.
Oh, my gosh.
Sometimes I would wait there hours. I'd get there after school, and if I really wanted to see a movie, I'd wait till they closed, and they'd be like, should we call your mom? She knows I'm here, so... I always love movies.
Wait, I have to talk about that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but
yeah, yeah.
I wish you told me that. I could have had some fun with that in the poem.
This poem was so amazing.
No, but I would have really had some fun with that, okay? So, Blockbuster,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember ever having to wait for a movie. Was it like because this movie just came out and
So-
you wanted it?
So if you remember, you had the new release sections, or
Got it.
The movie came out. I think it had a red cover if it was a new release.
Okay.
And everybody would rent the movie, So
Gotcha.
I wanted to see it. I'd go there. My mom would give me this is probably before I was even old enough to get a paper route. She'd give me $4 to go rent a movie.
Gotcha.
And I said, Mom, I'll be at Blockbuster. And the Blockbuster was down the street from us. And they all knew me, So I'd be in there playing the free video games, waiting for my movie, checking on it like every 15 minutes, probably annoying the hell out of the Blockbuster
But you know what's so
people.
cool now? Think about this.
Yeah.
When you're super, super rich and famous, these people are going to recognize this kid and they're going to be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
look, it worked out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's. I hope so, But it is funny. I didn't think of it when you were asking me things about myself, but yeah, I would wait there, and I always knew I wanted to be an actor. And sometimes you just don't get to things, I took time off doing music, and I graduated from Temple when I was 27, because I took time off trying to be a full-time, recording artist. So, sometimes you might have a lot of things you want to do. You don't have to get it done in an exact time. And
Okay.
there's a lot of stuff I've done in this past 7 years as an actor, and definitely not boasting, but I know people who've been doing it a lot longer than me, and some people might say, they come up and be like, man, you've done so much, in
Right.
such a small amount of time, and I'm very lucky and fortunate, for some people who've been doing it longer, and for me to hit some milestones faster, and obviously, the path is like it feels infinite. There's so much more to do, to where you could truly be like
Wow.
a full-time actor and getting paid to do something you're truly passionate about. There's no greater gift in this world than that, But you really have to love what you do. You can't just do it for money or fame, because it's not like I make a full-time living off of acting. I do it because I love it, the same reason I did music,
I want to touch base
and
on
I'm
that.
okay with that.
I want to touch base on what you just said. So here you are, a new and upcoming incredible actor to me, because I got to see it firsthand.
Thank you.
And you're only 35, and you just said something so profound that the older artists that I've interviewed have all said the same thing, and I never expected it to come out of your mouth at 35. You said you do it for the love. It's not for the money. And I'm really happy to hear that, because a lot of times I think a lot of these new upcoming artists, they talk about riches and they need to make money and they want to get rich doing it. So you just put a little bit more faith back into that for me, that you are truly doing it for the love. And I think that is important, because that's what's going to make it happen.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I was in college, and first I got an associate's degree in business at community college, and I was in the business transfer program. So when I went to Temple, I was in the Fox School business, but I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a famous rapper, and I really prided myself on being a lyricist, and I changed my major to history and then something else, and then philosophy, which I eventually, it set me back actually like a year, because a lot of credits you couldn't use to get your degree in that.
Okay.
But I was okay with that, because I found something that I thought was extremely difficult and equally interesting as it was difficult. And a lot of people would say, what are you getting your degree in that for? And it's like, well, I don't really care about being extremely wealthy. I mean, that'd be nice, I said, but I want to enrich myself as an artist and as a human being. And I said, if I'm broke, at least I know that I trapped myself as an artist, that if I'm 55 or 65...
Really old, 55.
Yeah. Like thinking down the line, I was like, at least I did what I wanted, and I want to do what I want, and I'm going to be stubborn. And if some of my, you go through relationships, different girlfriends or new people, or, if they don't like it, this is who I am, and I'm going to die an artist. So I'm going to trap myself, because not only did I pick philosophy because I loved it, I knew it would make me a better rapper and eventually a better actor and just a better person, because, there's more to life than obviously just trying to, even if you're an artist, I think it's one of the greatest things you could do, but you still have to be a great person. And I just wanted to enrich myself as a person. And I'd say jokingly, like I've trapped myself because when I'm out of here, I'm going to be in debt and I'm not going to be able to pay it off because there's not much you could do with a philosophy degree financially. But I said, I'll be a full-time artist and I'm going to work jobs that, get me by. And that's what I do now. I make money off of acting, but not enough to where I could quit my service jobs. But I have no problem with service jobs, I think that it builds character, and I think that there's no greater thing in life than being an artist from my perspective. You know what I mean? And I think that for people out there, young people, you got to really do what makes you happy in life, because what's the point of being, if you could even have $300,000 in your bank account at 36, what's the point if you're miserable, unhealthy, out of shape, and you don't even care? That you can't do nothing with the money. And when you retire at 60, you're going to be, most of these people tend to live unhealthy lifestyles because they're just so miserable. And I'm not taking shots at them because I know.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, people say, I'll enjoy life when I retire. I want to enjoy life now. I want to do what makes me happy now. I never understand that philosophy. You think if you're 60 and retired, you want to do a bunch of stuff? You know what I mean? Like, life is probably beating the heck out of you. I don't want to say.
I love what you're saying. Continue.
Yeah, and I think that this isn't negative. I think that this is positive.
Yes.
And, because you meet a lot of older people, and they have great wisdom to offer us, and nobody listens. And they say, I wish when I was young I did what you were doing.
That's beautiful.
I wish I did what you were doing. I have so many regrets. All I worried about was having money and a safe career, and I didn't take care of my health. People say, why are you so serious about your health? You're going to die? Yeah, we're going to die. But how you die is important.
Go ahead, and then I'll go ahead.
Yeah,
Just keep talking.
it's like, I don't think you have to believe in God to believe that your body is a temple. And do you want to be like, even if Sylvester Stallone wasn't famous or Bruce Lee, look at these guys. They're like 70, and they could do more than some of these guys at 25 could do.
Incredible.
That's so important, So like, I don't want to just be older and have, a bunch of money. I want to have my health. I want to be able to carry my own groceries when I'm 70, and I want to be able to play with my grandchildren, have a catch. Yeah, you can't do what you do when you're 20, but all this stuff matters. And all these, a lot of older people, they always say that to me. I wish I would have pursued my dreams. I wanted to do this. I wanted to paint, and it's like, I missed out on it because I picked the safe thing. I became an accountant, or I ran this company. So there's more to life than that. But, a lot of people, it's a shame because, there's a lot of people right now and their dreams are dying while they're living. So whatever you want to be, not that I'm up here trying to be preachy or anything, but I think you just have to go for it. If you want to paint paintings, if you want to write a novel, write that novel, man. Like if you're in a relationship, your boyfriend or girlfriend is telling you not to live your dreams, I mean, that's a decision you have to make, But if you want to climb rocks, you got to do it really is good for your mental health,
First of all, I didn't expect this to be part of this interview. I'm so happy it is, and I love you even more and respect you even more for who you are as a person.
Thank you.
Because what you just shared is absolutely going to touch someone out there today. And listen, you just touched me. Okay, you absolutely touched me because, I've lived the majority of my dreams. I've done things my poor father used to shake his head. Italian dads want you to work and make money and this and that, and he would shake his head at the stuff I was doing, but he never turned his back on me.
That's awesome.
And, the stuff that you just said out there is unbelievable. Nick, you're trying to call. Nick's trying to call. Doc G. Nick, call back. He's saying a call did not go through. Okay, he's going to call back, okay? All right. So, number one, thank you for sharing all that, okay?
Oh, no problem. I think it's important for people to say stuff like that,
It's vital.
because I've had a supportive family, but there's always like one family member or one friend or people out there. You can't let other people live your life for you. People are going to judge you, but somebody could focus on the 3 people that are judging them rather than the 1,000 people that are supporting them.
That's right.
We'll look at the 3 dislikes on our YouTube video and not the 20 likes that we got. Not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody's going to support you, and sometimes these people aren't supporting you I don't want to get into anything negative, but sometimes people, they might be jealous because you have the courage to pursue something that they don't. They don't want to take the risk. They see you taking risks. Don't do that. Suppose your parachute fails. Well, guess what, man? There's only one way to live life, because you could die walking across the street, and as cliche as that sounds. So I'm going to take the shot at my parachute failing, because I want to know what it feels like to fly.
Okay.
So you get those people, and they'll tell you where you should be in life. You should be this by 30. You should be this by 40. Go ahead.
Okay, we got our phone call. Hello?
Hold on. There you go, Jerry. Good.
Okay, hello.
Jerry,
Nick, hi, sweetheart.
what's happening?
This is my 9/11 responder. Say hello.
How you doing?
Hey, Dominic, great interview so far. It's been great. And, Jerry, Dominic hit it right on the head. I want to tell you a story that happened not too long ago. I had a friend of mine, Michael, who worked for the MTA as well, and Michael was waiting to turn 67 so he could get his Social Security, like the maximum. He was 64 years old, worked for New York City Transit for over 30 years, was going to get a $5,000 pension, and waited the extra 5 years just to get a measly $400 more.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, 64 years old, he died of a massive heart attack on the L train.
It's such a shame,
And you gotta, he hit it right on the head, Jerry. You gotta live. You want to paint. You want to rap. You want to make balloons. You want to be a radio host.
Yeah.
You gotta enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Hey, the next minute is not guaranteed.
100%,
You gotta
man.
enjoy life.
Nick, I love you, man. Thank you for calling in, because you're right. And I've lived my whole life taking dares and risking things, and I don't regret 1 minute of it.
That's it. Jerry, I love you, and
I love
it's
you
a great interview, and I look forward to the rest of it.
And
Thank you,
listen
man.
to it, because we're going to talk about his career, because he's an incredible actor. Okay,
Awesome.
sweetheart.
I look forward to it. Dominic, great job, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So
Bye-bye.
I'm going to ask you to do a rap or hip-hop, whatever you guys call it. I'm going to give you a word, right?
Okay, I'm a little rusty, but I'll do my best to do
All
a
right.
freestyle. I've
Okay,
been,
this
I've
is
been acting
freestyle.
for a long time now, so.
Okay, and if you could, look into the camera so they
All
could
right.
see it, baby.
Okay.
Addiction.
Addiction. Earlier on, I told you I like roles about nonfiction. Nonfiction roles show you I got soul. I'm coming off the top of my cranium. I know I'm hard as titanium. I treat this microphone like it's my home. All I know is gotta come hard as brass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass.
Oh my gosh.
I show you that I got class. Gotta make sure not to curse as I freestyle this verse. Yo, I know you love the way I'm straight flowing. Thank you for the beautiful poem. It was beautiful. I just came off the top with a musical. I know it's unusual. You probably think it's written. So you could throw me another word and I'll continue spitting. Throw me something random.
All right. I have to give you, all right, because first of all, you mentioned my book, you
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
the poem, you're incredible. You are now my favorite new, hip-hop artist. Is that what we're going to say here?
I don't know, yeah.
You're incredible. Do we have another phone call, Doc G? Oh, okay. You are incredible. How did you just do that?
I don't know. I'm actually lucky that it was even decent because I haven't did it in a long time. So
Oh, my
I've
gosh.
just been acting full time.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so I'm extremely happy right now. So let's talk a little bit about how we met. Let's talk about Backfire. Okay, so got to give a shout out to Nick. Okay, so the Philly Elvis, right?
Right. He's
So,
he's very good.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's incredible. And he invited me to, he's been on my show. He's going to be, actually, I think it's next week, he's going to be back on my show.
That's awesome.
But he invited me to the red carpet, and that's how I got to meet this young man. And Matt and Rob Lotta, right? I got to meet a lot of you guys from it. Let's talk about Backfire, and let's talk about why you were offered the co-lead role, right? Let's talk about that.
So I remember around the time they shot Backfire, I've been an actor for about 3.5 years, and I'd say about 2 of them were serious.
Okay.
Even if it was, I would say 3.5 years I was probably acting, because it's been a while since it came out. I don't know. So it was my first main character in a feature film. It was an indie feature film. It's pretty much the co-lead role. It's me and Jerome. played by Black De Niro, who's also a
Yeah, that's
rapper
right.
and an actor, just started making films. Um, Originally, before Dave was on the film, it was just Black De Niro. He wrote the story, and he wanted to shoot it. I seen it on film.org. It was a non-union independent film. I wasn't in SAG at the time, and I sent him my headshot, my resume, my reel. He hit me up instantly. He literally called me, I think, like maybe like an hour later, and he's like, "Man, you're one of these main characters." And then we just never got to it. So I don't know what happened with the film. And then like I'd say about 6 months later, in my acting group where I study at, we have the student page on Facebook, and just for the students. And my coach Brian, he had it shared on there that this guy Dave Patton was looking for actors for a film he's shooting in Philly. So I'm looking at the description of the film, and I'm like, this guy Dave Patton must have linked up with Black De Niro, because this sounds a lot like the film that this dude Black De Niro just seen my demo reel, and
Oh.
he just seen my demo reel and wanted me for it. And so I'm like, this has to be that film. This guy must have, because I never heard from Black after this.
Okay.
So like 6 months later, I'm thinking the film must have resurfaced. He probably couldn't shoot it, and something happened. That's all I'm guessing, right? I still don't even know the story. So I submitted a film. I don't even think, honestly, I didn't even submit for one of the lead roles, to be honest with all of you, because I wasn't, I haven't done a lead role in an indie film yet, and I didn't know much about the film, so I think I submitted to like one of the supporting roles. So anyway, I sent in my demo reel, headshot, resume, just assuming it's a different film, even though I got a feeling it's the same one. It was originally called The Wrong Guy.
Wait, Backfire was originally called The Wrong Guy?
Yeah, it was originally called The Wrong Guy, because
I
my
didn't know that.
character, the theme of that was my character was they shot the wrong guy. They robbed the wrong guy. But when Backfire got picked up and it started to get distribution, and the Netflix deal and all that came, they thought it sounded like more like a romantic title, is what Dave was telling us. So they had to switch the name to something that sounded more like the trend it was in, like an action shoot 'em up film.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Dave gets back to me instantly and goes, "Hey man, I loved your demo reel, and I want you to audition for the lead character. His name's Dominic Savastano." So I'm like, okay. And Dave's showing me a little what he did, and I look at Dave's resume, and I got a little nervous, because I'm like, man, this guy Dave is for real. He's a real deal. Because Black De Niro was already a popular local rapper who just started making films. This was his third film. But Dave, and Dave is like, he was signed to Meek Mill's label. He's a very popular musician, millions and millions of views on YouTube. For any of you guys don't know how popular this guy is and how talented he is. So I'm like, oh, this guy really likes me. So I sent in a self-tape. Comes like, he thinks I'm good enough for the lead? All right, It was probably the worst quality self-tape audition ever. I filmed it with my phone, and I used a cologne bottle to hold it up. The lighting in my room was horrible. And after I sent it in, and I didn't hear from Dave for a few days, I got nervous, and I was like, oh man, I should have went to my acting coach and shot it with professional quality, because they were only doing self-tapes, because Dave was in LA when he was accepting auditions. And I hit Dave up like a week later, and I was like, hey man, I know the quality on that audition sucked. I said, do you want me to send another one? Because I was like, I don't want to hurt my chances. So Dave gets back to me almost immediately, and he goes, hey man, love the audition, with a couple exclamation points.
Even that you thought it was messed up?
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes, listen, I was able to hear you and see you just enough. I thought it was great. I just got to go over some things, weed some things out. I'm definitely going to get back to you. I says, okay, that's a good sign, because he got back to me. Most people, they wouldn't say anything.
Okay.
So he gets back to me a couple of days later, and this is a long time ago now. It's been, I don't even know how many
few
years.
years.
Yeah, because obviously a film comes out 6-7 months after you shoot it. So he gets back to me and says, hey man, we'd like to offer you the role if you want to accept. He goes, it's not much pay, because it's just making sure I'm talking to them. Like, he said, but let me know if you want to do it. Here's the script, and all the usual stuff. So I read the script, and I was like, man, this would be great. So, I accepted the role. They shot this film in 10 days, for those who don't know, with like $13,000. Maybe 9 days, maybe 10. I think it was 10 days. There was like one pickup day probably. And they only had $13,000. Now, for those who don't know about filmmaking, that's nothing, because there's like independent films, and their budget is like a couple million, and it's independent. So for Dave Patton and Black De Niro to accomplish what they accomplished on this film with like no money, and like just using all their resources and contacts, I got all my scenes shot in 3 days. So it's a film that I think we're all super proud of, and should be, because there's just no money, and it's done quite well. It's gotten some bad feedback, but I would say for every 2 people that did not like the movie, 3 people loved it, and I think that's very good, because when people see movies on Netflix, they think it has like this $40 million budget, and I think if most of those people know, even though we've had way more love than hate, and I think for the people who threw some shade, if they knew like how this film was made with no money in like a week, they would love it much more and respect it much more.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that out, because I
Yeah.
didn't even really know that.
Yeah. I felt like I was talking forever.
But it's your show.
I'm
You
sorry.
need to
Yeah.
talk forever.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
plenty
yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
If you're not talking, this would be a very
Right.
boring show. That was a great point,
Yeah.
because, all right, I'm glad you actually said what
Mm-hmm.
you just said, and there's a reason why. Because whenever I interview like artists, actors,
Mm-hmm.
singers, right, I always ask them silly questions, because the average person like myself, the audience,
Right.
we think things completely different than things that are really happening.
Right.
So here we are, and you're right, we're thinking, wow, maybe we didn't love this in a movie, or we didn't love that movie, or whatever, but we don't even realize that they only had 13,000 versus someone who had 1 million.
That's it. It may have been 14,000, maybe
You know,
11,000.
whatever, right.
It was no money.
We wouldn't know that.
I could have overshot it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And, I tell everybody, and this is important, guys, because perspective is everything. Like even when somebody says something negative about you, right? I do also like health coaching and all that. And I had someone sit with me the other day and telling me his fears and what was going on. And this is what I said. I said, you have to take it from the source. So if someone says something negative about you, you have to take it from the source, because that person's response to whatever or to you is based on their own experiences.
100%.
Right? So never take anything that personal, guys. Please, never let anyone, I always tell everyone, know your worth. Okay? You all have it. So it's up to you to implement it. Okay? We all have gifts, and it's up to us to fulfill and use those gifts, right? So I'm really glad you said that, because I never even knew that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you said is so valid and so true. You do have to know your worth, because a lot of times there's a good amount of people out there will think that you're being arrogant by being confident. But if you're not confident, what should you do? Walk around balled up and not saying nice things to yourself? Because you have to say nice things to yourself. You have to love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, nobody else will. So you have to accept that there's going to, you're gonna eat some shots. Like even Floyd Mayweather gets punched in the face, and he might be the best of all time. No one's gonna walk out of a fight without something. You're gonna get caught in the jaw, get a bloody nose. You're gonna pull your shoulder. Something's gonna happen. And in life, it's the same way. Like if you don't love yourself, how can anyone else love yourself? And if you do say nice things to yourself, there's gonna be those few people, few bad apples, who are gonna say, "Oh, he or she's arrogant," or they don't really matter. They're just, it's just negativity. And like you said, you have to consider the source, because sometimes people might be jealous of someone that has the courage to do things that they don't do, courage to do things they're scared to do. It could be you trying to say, you wake up one day and you say, you know what, I'm going to write a novel, I'm going to do this, and you do it, and they're mad at you for it. They're mad at you for taking shots at the things in life that they didn't do, or they're never going to do. When really, if they just complimented you, they would give something back to themselves. And I think that's a big issue with people. Like, I'm never afraid to compliment somebody. I'm never afraid to compliment somebody, even if I know they would never compliment me, because I should not stop being a good person, even if this person will ever want to be a good person to me. And I think that when you build someone up, you build yourself up in the process. And when you take away from someone, you take away from yourself in the same process. It really says a lot about a person's character if they could say nice things about you. You know what I mean? And it makes them a better person. You could respect them more. And you could have someone who's so talented, so good, and they don't even want to give anyone praise that did something that was remarkable as well. And what's that say about them? You see a lot of that in this industry, with peers or whatever. And even like some of the biggest stars we loved or grew up on, they all had rivals, but they didn't have to be their rivals.
That's
you know, like I never thought De Niro and Pacino were rivals, even though Hollywood painted it that way. Even if you said, I don't know who's better, but if you thought Pacino was better than De Niro, okay, what does that say about De Niro? Is he still not one of the greatest actors of all time who won Oscars?
He's one of the greatest actors of all time.
So, you got Whitney Houston, you got Celine Dion. I mean,
Right.
like, so what?
So what?
Who cares who's better? They're both so remarkable,
It's amazing. You should be also a motivational speaker for teens. But I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because if someone like you was on a platform for them, they would listen. It's they don't want to listen to me. They want to listen to someone like you. Young guys especially. I think you should consider doing something with it. Part-time here or there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that because, certain people just like, certain communities need someone that they could relate to or looks like them and gives them representation. And everyone, I mean, if I'm in a position to give something back with the little that I've got, I'm more than happy to give back more than I got. I'm willing to give back more than I received. It makes me feel good to do so. And it's kind of like I was just saying earlier, and like we've talked about, like if you could really like, I guess like, I don't want to over-explain it or over-analyze it, but if someone came up to me, like there's been actors that have come up to me, I'm like, man, that this person, like I have such respect for them. Even when I did music, and I thought, man, what a great artist. And they come up to me and say, yo, you were amazing in Backfire. Or, yo, that song you did was amazing. I remember I had this song when I was like, I could think like this guy Bert came up to me, he loved this song that I did like 7 years ago. And it really spoke highlights about who he was as a person. It was by Burke the Jerk. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I like that.
And he's not a jerk,
No, right.
Probably a ball breaker, but
I love that.
But I remember he came up to me and he just complimented me as a lyricist, and he's like, man, you're such a great lyricist, the wordplay, the metaphors, the story. He was giving me like, and I'm like, this guy's so amazing. And he had and he didn't shy away from telling someone else they were amazing. And it really spoke to how great of a person he was, and it showed how confident he was. Because there's been other people like him who might have said bad things about me behind my back, which is inevitable. That's going to happen, right?
It's going to happen. Wait.
And it really spoke about who they were as a person, because, you're not confident in yourself. You're a small person. Because this guy, Bert, came up to me, so talented, so amazing, big dude, beast, and just, I was like, man, this guy's so amazing.
I have to comment because I'll forget.
Yeah.
So you just said something incredible. There'll always be people that say things, right? Negative things, bad things about people. But here's the
It's
thing.
almost like the law of arithmetic. I mean,
But
that's
it
the way
has
is.
to happen, and it should happen. Because if it didn't happen, you're not doing your job.
100%.
Okay, so understand that too, guys. Okay? If you are not impacting everyone out there, okay? The majority should be positive, absolutely. But there will be some people that take that as negative. That means you're doing your job. Not everyone's going to love you. It doesn't matter. You could be the most perfect person. There will be people that will fight that.
And people that will hate, and people that will hate you for being talented.
That's right.
Because they may believe that they're not.
Right.
And they probably have. Everybody has something they're good at. You just have to find it and be passionate about doing it. But yeah, like you could go right now. You could Google Meryl Streep, right? Who's one of the best actresses of all time. You could just type in Meryl Streep, overrated actress, and I guarantee you'll find something on Reddit or something somewhere that says, I don't see the big deal.
Okay.
Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't see the big deal. And I see that, and I'm like,
Okay.
that's
I
your
see the big
opinion.
deal.
Now listen. Sometimes somebody might genuinely believe that they're not good.
Right.
But should Meryl Streep or Leonardo DiCaprio focus on that?
Never.
Should like you're a big fan of Elvis. Should somebody? There's somebody out there who doesn't want to like Elvis or is for some reason doesn't think he's good, which is delusional, right? And there's someone out there who just doesn't want to say he's good because they want to be the person who's like the outlier.
Yes.
Some people just live to say the opposite to get attention. So somebody wants to say Meryl Streep's not good. Somebody wants to say Eminem's not good. Elvis ain't good. You're always going to have these people, and you just can't focus on them because it's toxic energy. They're toxic people. They're like, you already
Mae
know.
West, you know who she is?
I don't
Okay,
know.
I didn't think you would, but your mom would. Mae West was one of the biggest female entertainers back in the day of all time. Okay? And she used to talk with a real sexy voice, and she was real sexy, and she,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, she was incredible. And Mae West, her favorite saying, and I live by this, is I'd rather be looked over than overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, I like that.
even if they're talking negative about you,
They're talking about
they're
you.
talking about you, baby.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're keeping you alive. Right?
And-
They're
and-
talking about you.
And when I used to rap, I would really make an effort to point it out because that would make them even angrier. Because it's like, oh, we're getting him attention, you know? And it's like, keep doing it, you know?
There you
And,
go.
and also, I thrive off that energy, you know what I
You
mean?
know?
So it's okay with me.
So let's talk about, okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about Backfire, your role, and then we'll move on. So your role, tell everyone a little bit about your role and why I loved it.
All right.
Being Italian.
So basically, my character, Dominic Savastano, he's having a one. By the way, in the movie, it appears I become the bad guy. I want to let you all know, if you saw the movie, if you see the movie, I'm the good guy. All right. And the reason why is, you know, I'm coming out from a good night with my fiance, who's like played by Julie Stackhouse, is a good actress. We've been casted as a couple before, and actually never, the film's never happened. But you know, so she plays my fiance, and we're walking down the alley, and you know, two thugs in ski mask, played by Dave Patton, who plays OT, and Black De Niro plays Jerome. You know, they come and rob us, and Dave's character OT loses his mind and decides to shoot down my fiance and shoot me down. But you didn't kill me, bro. So you know, basically my character just goes on this insane path of vengeance in this action shoot 'em up film called Backfire, which is still on Netflix and trended for like, man, I don't even know, I lost count, like 10 weeks straight, which was surreal because I didn't know that was going to happen. So it's been the most rewarding thing of my career so far. And yeah, that's what happens. And as the movie goes on, it might look like I'm the bad guy, but you know, I'm the hero. So you know what I mean? I know a lot of people, they say, "Oh man, you were so mean," and it's like, guys, they killed my fiance.
Right.
What do you expect me to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, he just goes on that, and I just tried to you know, I just gave my own twist on it. I didn't want to be no cliche mobster. So given the script I was given and given the writing I was given, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and as a newer actor with his first lead role, I saw something that I could play with and mold into my own thing, because I knew that anybody else that got this, because I remember Black De Niro told me on the last day of set, we actually shot the beginning last. For people who don't know, films get shot out of sequence all the time.
Oh.
And he said, man, there were thousands of Dominics. Like, I'm like, man, how many people auditioned? You know, and they picked me, and they really liked me.
Yep.
And I'm fortunate and grateful. And I just knew that I could do something different with it and not make it a cliche Italian mobster guy from Philly. You know, because, you know, I've met people like this, so I had real life experience from people I've met or known or had an idea of, and put a bit of myself in there. And you know, it was like a melting pot of all these things, and I knew I'd create something like real sinister about him and let that whole event kind of make him evil, but to where you could see the justification behind his actions on why he's lost his, you know, mind
Lost his
entirely.
mind. Yeah, I get it. Sure.
And I did what I could at that time, and you know, if I were to grade myself, which is very hard to grade yourself, you know, because you're so close to yourself. It's like looking at your own poem or looking at your own book. You have to have someone else read it to get a clear idea. Someone you trust, obviously. And when I looked at it, besides for the great things other people said to me, at first I looked at it and I was like, man, I'm proud of myself, man. I know I did a good job.
You did.
I can't say if it's amazing because it's me looking at myself, and you're always going to be harder on yourself. But I looked at my work. I actually bought my own movie before the red carpet premiere that night.
Oh.
When we went to the red carpet premiere, I was really nervous. And I was like, oh, man, suppose they don't like me. You know, so because before it released on Netflix, it released on Prime Video and stuff like that. So I bought my own movie, watched it, and I was like, okay, I feel safe going tonight, because I was nervous. And I thought I did a good job, and it's only made me a better actor. And I learned so much from Dave and just them other people on set, and it was so good. And I thought I did a really good job in that, and then I booked the TV pilot for Comedy Central, small role. Like a month later, I thought I did good on that, and then this short film in the Land of Hera I did a couple months later, and I was like, man, I'm even better now because of that movie. So in the Land of Hera, I felt like it was a better performance, even though I felt confident about my performance in Backfire. It just goes to show how you level up. You know, it's like a fighter. He's 15-0, but the fighter at 29-0 is way better than the guy at 15-0.
Wow, I love that.
Because he had those other 14 great opponents, you know. So I just grow so much from great projects like this.
That's so cool. So the one part in the movie I loved, and I thought you were one of the best actors. The one part I loved was when I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, because I saw it a while ago, the black godfather said, "Hey, wise guys," or something. You picked the wrong person.
Oh, yeah, that's OG Blood by Michael Johnson.
How did he say it? Do you remember?
Oh, he did it so good. I wish I could remember.
It was so great, right?
But I remember he was like, "You don't mess with that guy." Or
that
something
guy,
like, he was
right?
like,
You know,
which is good because it goes to
Yes.
show you how other people build you up. Because
You know?
even as an actor, him saying that line, it gave my character more power.
Oh, that's so cool.
You know, just like in real life, it's like. Just like when I said someone comes up to me and says, like Brian Gallagher, he played Officer Rizzo in it.
Okay.
Brian came up to me and said, "Man, I thought you killed it." And that felt really good because Brian's an experienced actor. He's been, you know, he had a recurring role in The Outsiders. I mean, he's been on he's in almost everything. Creed, really great actor.
Yeah, that was great, Creed.
Yeah, he came up to me and said he thought I killed it. And I was like, "Man, thank you." And
See?
it says a lot of things about somebody. It really does.
There's
you know?
a difference, guys, between self-confidence and arrogance. There's a big difference because I tell everyone, if we could say someone else is awesome or incredible or great, we should be able to say that about ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not being arrogant, it's being self-confident. There's a big difference, okay, guys? Your tattoo, where is it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what this is. Come on, and then we'll tell the story. Well, since we just ate at Papa's Tomato Pies, the oldest pizza place in the nation, I'm going to have to go with that. It does look like a pizza pie. So tell everyone what it is really and why, and, you know.
So I got this tattoo, man, like, I guess I was like 24, 25. And a friend of mine did it. It was a Spartan shield. Only like 2 people noticed it was a Spartan shield because obviously it's not something you just pick out. But obviously it's not a perfect tattoo, but it's actually been a blessing in disguise because people have come up to me and said, "What's that on your arm? Is that like a watermelon or something? Is that an orange slice?" And I remember just like laughing, like, and not being offended and just like, this is actually very funny. Like, this tattoo has been everything. It's only been a Spartan shield maybe like 3 times. It's been a pizza like 10 times. It's been an orange slice, some type of fruit. It's been a tribal symbol. It's been a moon. So I actually love the tattoo because it was like a real happy accident. Because now it's like it's a million tattoos in one.
Great.
It's like a Swiss Army knife of a tattoo.
That's great. So what's happening now? What else are you going to be doing?
So people are still watching Backfire, which is cool.
Yep.
It's funny because like people hit me up from different countries, which was nuts on my Instagram, like about it. So I'm like, people are still watching it, so it feels like I'm still with it, you know, even though it's like over 3 years old now. But it's been on Netflix since May. I did 21 Bridges. I had a small role, principal role. So
what was the role?
So I was one of the angry neighbors. Yeah.
Hey, tell us. That sounds fun.
So 21 Bridges. It was shot in Philadelphia. It was shot in New York too, but most of it was shot in Philadelphia. And Chadwick Boseman, who's Black Panther, it's his movie. So I had a very small scene. I'll probably fly by in it. But it was the $1,000 day, so it was financially rewarding.
$1,000 for one scene. Yes,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'd say the best part about 21 Bridges is like Brian Kirk is the director. So he's directed a couple episodes of Game of Thrones because, you know, TV shows, they bring in multiple directors. So to get directed by him was dope because, like, Game of Thrones is, like, one of my favorite shows of all time. And just to be on set with, like, Sienna Miller and Chadwick Boseman and Brian Kirk, I mean, that was pretty awesome. And, like, I know that I didn't have a big role. In those situations, I think it's great experience, and it's still a great opportunity for the actor because, one, you got a speaking role, which means they think you're really good. So, okay, that's awesome. You casted me for a speaking role.
Wow.
And then it's like, all right, you know, besides for the check and all that stuff and residuals, whatever, it's great to show that you're a coworker and you could handle not being in the limelight. And I think that's something they look for. Because, you know, when I'm there, my character is not a guest star role. He doesn't play a critical part in the story. He's just the guy that's there to help the lead and the main characters get through the story and tell their story, because they're the main roles. You know, just like in Backfire, where I was one of the lead roles, there was other actors that helped their thing, like Rob Lotta. When I got to, you know,
Love Rob,
when I
yep.
got to beat him up, you know, like he wasn't a guest star, it wasn't a big role, but you know, we needed him because he helped give my character power and tell my character's story and let people know who my character was.
Right.
So it's still a critical piece in the story. You know, you can't play chess without the pawns, and I'm not a chess player.
I'm a chess player, so I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, it felt great to be on a set of that magnitude. You know, who knows what they're shot at with, 50 million, I don't know. For Brian Kirk to come over, because my scene was all improv, by the way. They end up switching the lines up. Brian Kirk loves improv and stuff like that. So he came over, and the line that I thought I had, I didn't have, and it became like 10 lines. And he said, "Hey, Dominic, you know, he's Irish, so he's like, you know, I want you to improv everything, just a little bit." And I was like, "Sure, man, no problem." He goes, and then I did something, and the language might have been too harsh. He came over, because, "I know, God, like, you probably wouldn't say that, so just do me a favor and, you know, switch it up a little bit. You probably won't talk to the police like that." So I was like, "All right, no problem, man." So, you know, to get redirection from him was awesome. And, you know, Chadwick Boseman, I didn't get to have a long conversation with him, but, you know, he was very polite to everybody, great guy. Walked by, you know, tapped me on the shoulder, said a few words to me, you know, and I leave him alone because he's got to do his job. He's in character, and you don't want to bother him, you know. So everybody was super dope, and it was great to show that, you know, I'm not just a great actor, I'm a great coworker, you know, and that was a fun experience. I can't wait till the movie comes out, and just to see it, and I'd say the other things coming up that are really big acting wise, where, you know, I wasn't just the pawn helping, you know, the main players do their thing, is I'm in this film called In the Land of Her. It was a short film, super low budget short film. I had a really good role in it, so I can't wait till that comes out. Andrew Donato, I'm looking forward to him. We shot that like over 3 years ago. One day, Andrew, you'll get the film out, you know. And then a film called Snow Babies, which is probably going to be I think it's going to come out this year. I haven't talked to Bridget or Mike, but I had a principal role in that, and more like a guest star where I'm a critical part of the story. I had 2 big scenes with, I forget her name. She's like a Nickelodeon star.
Okay.
But they were awesome. Katie Kelly's the lead, and I forget the other girl's name. I think it's Paula Pandino.
Okay.
I'm saying it wrong. I apologize. I played this drug dealer called Crossover, and a little bit different from Dominic Savastano, a little different energy, different part of Philly, and it was some of the most amazing writing I've got to be a part of. The movie's called Snow Babies. You guys could Google it.
Okay.
It'll pop up. I mean, this film, that budget's a little bit bigger, still small, obviously, probably like 70,000. Obviously
Okay.
not huge, but I think this film's going to do big things. Bridget is such a talented director. It was great to meet with her, work with her. Mike's such a talented writer. I'm really looking forward to this film and seeing it, and I think that not only do I get to people get to see me, but like this movie is going to be powerful. It's about addiction, heroin addiction.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's my thing, baby.
Yeah, these little girls are like from the suburbs, you know, Catholic raised, perfect homes, and yet they get caught up on, you know, Oxycontin and stuff like that. And I get to play the guy selling them, and I play quite a vicious character, you know. So that's like, I'm looking forward to this film more than anything. It was not much pay, but, you know, obviously it's not about that. It was the fact that I got to play this interesting, complex human being like Crossover, who has his own story on why he became who he is, you know. Considering his past, you know, he didn't have much choices, and he becomes this horrible person. But I think maybe we'll get to see a bit of him, you know, when I can't tell you anything, but
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to this movie. I can't wait to see what everyone's done with it. It's like one of the most talented things I was a part of. So
Well,
that's the biggest thing coming next.
I want to give a shout out to Pablo Reyes Papo. Pablo is an incredible singer. and he's in Florida, and he actually is my connection. He introduced me to Ken Brady and a lot of
Oh,
other
wow.
singers, and he says, "Do you guys need a Puerto Rican who sings in the film?"
Well, the films are already shot.
but in case,
But
future
for future references, yeah, you could always. By the way, back there, let me know if I'm ever not talking to the mic good enough. I want to make sure
Oh
people
no,
can
I
hear
think
me.
you're perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, man, you could always inbox me your stuff. I'm on Instagram at Dominic Costa 215. So DOMINIC COSTA 215. You could DM me your stuff. I'll check it out and listen. And if I ever know anything, I have no problem throwing you a bone, man.
I love him. He's shy.
Yeah.
He gives us free concerts from his living room. I got to meet
Oh,
him
wow.
in person. I
Yeah.
love him, but he's shy. He
That's
won't.
awesome.
Do it. Nick Ferrara is watching. Hey, Nick from Backfire, the Philly Elvis, our friend. Call in, Nick. Say hello to both of us.
What's
You're
up,
going to be
Nick?
my guest next week with Lou.
Thank you.
But call in. Come on, baby. So, all right. So you said some things now about Snow Babies. That's the name of it?
That's the name right
Okay.
now. Because a Snow Baby is, like,
Yeah.
for
So-
those who don't know,
Go ahead.
it's when
Tell me.
someone's has a baby while they're on drugs like Oxycontins or heroin or something, or maybe even perk 30s now. It's a big problem nowadays.
Yep.
And-
So, I want to ask you about your roles, okay? Because there are a lot of people out there listening or watching that, may have some of the same questions, okay?
Okay.
So, I look at actors and I think they become absolutely incredible. Like, if you watch actors when they were younger and as they progress, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so I remember watching some actors back in the day, and as they're getting older and I see the different roles that they're playing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
I could never, ever imagine that actor would play that role, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So-
exciting.
It's exciting. So let me ask you about some roles, okay? And
Okay.
guys, my daughter's married to a woman, so I can talk about gay people. All right. Would you ever, if someone said to you, "We'd like you to play a role, and it's going to be a huge movie, lots of money," would you play a gay character?
So, this is a question that, obviously every male actor is going to be asked. And I get the feeling that obviously I'm the type of person people like to ask because people see me as like a very masculine man,
Yes,
I guess.
a tough guy
Especially after you see a movie
with
like
pizza tattoos.
Yeah. So, I'm a straight male. And although as much as I love women, I would say it's open to discussion. It's at one time. It's funny how you change in life too, because at one time when I was younger, even because like I told you, I always dreamed of being an actor, and even when I did music, I would always think one day I'm going to make the transition because I want to do this, and I just didn't get to it because I was so occupied with music. People would ask me that, would you ever play a gay guy? And I say it's open to discussion because it depends. Like if it's something that's not paying much money. And it's not just about the money. I'm more interested, when it comes to acting, I'm more interested in complex characters, complex human beings that are going through something. So when I don't even really know what I want to play until I see the page in front of me and they say, "We like you to read for this character." So if the character's name was, give me a name.
Arnold.
Arnold. And Arnold's a gay male. First thing I would look at is not whether he's gay or straight, is what's the story about? What's his story? What's the arc of the character? What's the arc of the story? And where can I leave my fingerprint on this character? And if I think it's super appealing, super interesting, could really benefit my career, and also, most importantly, benefit my soul, benefit my spirit as an artist, then I would probably say yes. And I would also expect a lot of money.
I love that.
Because, it's just like if a woman is asked to be nude, that's something you get extra for. You know what I mean? So I think that even man, woman, if you're straight and you're asked to play gay and you have to make it believable, because obviously if you're not gay and you have to do something gay, it's something you might be sexually repulsed by, not emotionally repulsed by. You know what I mean? Like you have gay friends, you have gay family
Right.
members, but to kiss someone of the same sex is a challenge.
Yes.
if you're not attracted to them.
Yes.
So to pull that off and make that believable is very hard work, and you have to be very committed to your craft. So just like nudity or anything else, certain things require extra money. And that would be a beautiful byproduct of how interesting the character and the story is. So
Beautifully said, kiddo.
yeah, so if I think the story and the character is interesting, then I would say it's open to discussion, and I'm open to negotiating that. You know what
Beautifully
I
said.
mean?
Absolutely. Trying to call. Doc G, we have another caller trying to call in. Nick is trying to call in. Nick, dial again, please.
Yeah, I'm not getting their calls. I'm looking right at it. I'm not
All
getting
right.
their calls.
Nick, call in again, please.
Is it the same Nick? What time?
No, this is Nick Ferrara. This is our Philly Elvis. There it is.
Nick, you're on.
Hey.
Hey, I'm not getting their calls. I'm looking right at it. I'm not getting their calls.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Hey, Nick.
What's up, Nick?
How are you, Dom? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
All right, good, good.
That's good to hear,
That's it,
man.
It's a backfire there, buddy.
Yeah, man.
I tell you what, I didn't know Dom. I never met him until on set, and in a very, very good professional way, man. Dom was intense. That's the way I saw it. You know, he was an intense guy, man. He was focused, and that's a good thing. So he did a great job, man. Great job.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And you, man, you did a great job too. You and your buddy, man. You guys are funny, man. You guys did very good things with that writing.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. So
Yeah, man. You
I
can see that. I love working with you guys, man.
So, Nick.
we were trying to get the guys for your revenge, man.
Yeah.
So Nick, I was talking about you earlier, and I was telling Dom that when I went to see the premiere, and I thought the opposite about the child. I was so mad at you for even playing that role until then I realized. Remember, I told you that.
Yeah.
Yes, you have. And I get messages all the time to this day. People yelling at me. What are you doing? And then when the movie's over, they're like, okay.
I was sitting
we
there
can't say
so
too
mad.
much because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want to watch Backfire on Netflix, and we can't tell them the whole movie,
Right.
So.
But I want you to tell everyone a lot is happening for you right now. And I'm so happy and proud, and I can't wait for the next red carpet, baby. And tell everyone what's happening with you.
Well, let me say this. I'm going to be a guest next week. So I'm going to tell everyone to tune in next week, and they'll hear all about it. But today's about Dominic, man. I mean, I want to hear more about Dominic and what he's doing. And I'm a fan of Dominic, man.
So
That's
everyone,
what's up, man.
did you
Thank
just
you.
hear? Nick Ferrara is going to be my guest next week, so tune in because a lot is going on with him as well. And he was in Backfire with Dominic, and so a lot to tell, guys, okay? Thank you, Nick.
Myself
I love you.
And Lou Martini Jr. will be there next week
Yes,
as well.
Lou Martini Jr.
Lou
will
and
be
I,
with him.
we're in a couple projects, and we're going to tell all about it.
All right,
Good
cool.
stuff, man. Yo, it's great hearing from you, my man.
Yep, same here, Dom. You take care, and good luck to you, buddy.
All right, thank you, man.
All right, Sweet Pea.
Thanks.
Bye, Nick.
See.
So I want to ask you a couple questions, and just because we're on my radio show, you don't have to answer something that you don't want to. You
No,
can
it's
say,
okay.
Jer, I'd rather not answer, and I'm okay with that.
No, it's okay. I'm a pretty open person.
Okay, all
you
right.
know.
So, all right, well, we'll start with some silly things. Like, who were some of the actors or artists that you've gotten to be around that you really loved and enjoyed? And then, what were some of your not so happy experiences with certain people?
So I gotta say, I've been pretty fortunate and pretty blessed so far because I haven't really had any bad experiences with anybody of like any notable name, and I think one of the best, like in terms of like people I was around, like in reference to your question, I would say like meeting Chadwick Boseman and Sienna Miller was pretty dope.
Okay.
They were just really cool. Perfect example of people that are really talented at what they do and not afraid to be nice to people and compliment people, because they're confident in themselves and Sienna Miller was very playful, even though she had a very emotional scene, which, I would never expect an actor. I understand, like, in my own situations, like, where I just went off to a corner by myself because it's very hard to go from a positive state and then have to play such a hateful, negative state where you kind of just want to be alone sometimes.
Okay.
And I would say being around Chadwick Boseman and Sienna Miller for the brief, small time that I was around them, because, like I said, it was a very brief role. One day, I was just helping them serve the story. They were awesome, and it was great to see people, actors at that level, that famous, that talented, just be so kind and give the example of what it is to be an actor. You know how to carry yourself on set. They were just real people, and I didn't have to talk to them long to figure it out because how they carried themselves was the perfect example of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because, a lot of interviewers a lot of people that I interview, that are artists and actors, they tell me both sides.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say something similar to what you said, but then they'll also tell me that you wouldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
This actor, and I
Right.
mean incredibly famous actors and
Right.
actresses, was so snobby.
Right. Yeah.
Wouldn't talk to anyone, wouldn't sign, wouldn't take photos with the fans, wouldn't give autographs, wouldn't even talk to the other actors that were just like going to be extras, just like would say things like please and put their hands up.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess I've
That's
been.
beautiful that you haven't experienced that.
Yeah, I guess I've just been lucky, and I'm sure eventually everybody experiences something from that end. I'd say, like, anytime I've experienced people like that, like, would probably be on the stuff that was like non-union productions, as you're, when you're trying to get your SAG card, when you're trying to build up your demo reel, build up your footage. I think is when you work with people who aren't as talented and a bit more delusional, and you kind of experience those people in the beginning. I'm sure there's a few out there. I mean, you could go on YouTube and look up the worst actors to work with. I'm sure, like, there's some. I would say most of them are probably just hardworking, talented people, focused. You know what I mean? Everybody has their moments, but I would say the other side that I like, the nasty people, would be more on the beginner's end, where you just work with people who didn't show up on time, were unprofessional, or showed up on time but weren't prepared, and a day that should have been 2 hours took 12. I've experienced that on, like, the student, local, independent filmmaker part in plays and films, or people just aren't professional, ain't coming on set, don't know their lines, don't have anything fleshed out, aren't willing to collaborate. I mean, I have those stories where someone comes and I want to do it this way, and then, you don't want to, there's a whole set there, and nobody really has money. Like, when you're talking, like, the lower end, it's non-union, it's student filmmaking. So now you go say, okay, now we have to get through this day with this actor who's delusional and, like, only wants to work it this one way and isn't willing to collaborate. It's almost like if you're using a painting and we have red, blue, and yellow, and you bring yellow, it's like, I only want to use red and blue. Well, I'm here to bring yellow. You know what I mean? Like, that you're not in the scene by yourself. Definitely experience those people, but they tend to go nowhere.
Wait, so I want to ask you about that. Okay, speak my language.
Okay.
This is what I heard, and tell me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume you have a script.
Mm-hmm.
They have the same script.
Right.
You have your lines and they have their lines.
Right.
So you're coming into the room and you're doing the scene.
Right.
So are you allowed to ad lib or add certain things if you think you could do something incredible with that? Do they extend that courtesy to you?
So as far as the director and the writer goes, say I'm working on a student film, or some of them ain't film students in, like, a school. You still call it student film even if they're not, because you're still students of the craft.
Okay.
And you may not be in school for this, but you're good enough to make, you know what I'm saying. So say I'm on a set. I'm not going to bring up anybody's names or anything like that. But
Nick, bring up Nick.
Nick was hard to work with. No, I'm just playing. No, Nick was great. I've been in situations like maybe like 5 years ago where I came to set and I got my lines, they got their lines. And say when I did this, they weren't, you could ad-lib as long as it stays with the story. Like, your improv can't take us away from the story.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Where it would change the narrative of the main characters or something. It has to be truthful and connected to what's going
Okay.
on. There's very few writers that won't encourage like ad lib or improv. Like if you think of something and it works, we're not on stage. We have the pleasure of cut.
Okay.
You know, on stage you rehearse By the way,
Okay.
film, there's no rehearsal really most of the time. So you're just meeting this actor for the first time and actually running your lines. When I've done stage, I've worked with these actors for 4 or 5 weeks. We're so prepared. There's no reason you need a cut. You know, you work this
Okay.
thing for like 4 or 8 weeks, depending on if it's union, non-union. So they both have their difficulties.
Okay.
Theater, you get to rehearse. That's a blessing. Film, you don't. So you meet this actor. You come. You're off book. You got all your lines. Hopefully they're off book. They got all their lines. And let's just say we do something, and they're making it about themselves, like in a situation. Say it's a situation where I'm trying to think of a good example, but like you're not staying true to the scene.
Okay.
You're trying to be a star, and let's just say
Okay.
let's say there's multiple ways to do a scene. It's kind of hard for me to think of a good
No,
example.
wait,
right now.
hold on one second.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting what you're saying.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay, now it's making sense. So you're saying when actors don't want to work together, they want to make it about them, the scene, and that's what happens.
I just thought of a good example,
Okay.
right? And I'm not in a band, but say we have a band right now,
Okay.
and we're creating a song.
Okay.
That's a collaborative effort, and we all have our positions. And there's this part in the first minute. You know, say you have a 5-minute song, we have to get to that finality to complete the song. There's steps and stages, but then you have an egotistical drummer who goes into a 3-minute drum solo, and it's like, whoa, what are you doing? Why'd you do that on stage tonight? That's not our song. Where'd that 3-minute drum solo come from? You messed up the whole song. Which's name didn't get to sing his verse, or which's name didn't get to hit his guitar riff, or whatever. You deal with people like that, so they take that, and it's like, whoa, this isn't your guitar solo right now. You're not going to go on some Vale Hand, Jimmy Page, or somebody 8-minute riff. That's not the scene. And then they say, this is how I see it. I'm an actor. I'll do it this way. And then the director might come over and give direction, and then it's an actor that just can't be worked with. So what you do is to save the energy of the set and get through the day and say, okay, well, I have to get the film made, and I'm not here to direct that actor, so let me make sure I'm talking to the mic. So I just have to do my job. That's the director's job. I might have go over to the director and say, hey, I wanted to do this, but sometimes you just got to work off what the other person is giving you. So Viola Davis put it a great way, and it's something that I was already doing, and when I heard her say it, that's why it's important for people who are famous or very successful artistically to come out and say things, because it could reinstill your confidence on something that you're already confident about and maybe weren't sure of, you know what I mean? So like every time I come to set or come to a rehearsal or whatever, I know that, okay, if I'm working with GERI, right, I'm going to say, okay, well, my character Bob, right, with GERI's character Roxanne, GERI might do this differently from how I prepared. So let me try to forecast, you know, like all the ways GERI might play Roxanne in this scene where we have this romantic fight. Maybe she'll do this, maybe she'll do that. The most important thing, not only will I have I'll be like Peyton Manning in the huddle ready to throw 5 audibles. I know that there's 5 audibles I didn't think of, but the one thing I can do is be prepared to change and be like a chameleon. So if I come to set and even the 5 audibles I prepared aren't there, I know that something different could be thrown my way, and I'm prepared to do that. And then prepared for the director to come to give direction, and if you have an actor that can't be worked with, at least I'm prepared to mold myself to whatever's going on. And you just have to be prepared for that. And I always felt that way, and when I heard Viola Davis say it, I was like, thank God she said it, because she's a great actress, and now I feel confident in my natural instinct to do that.
Wow, I just love listening to you talk. You make sense.
I'm doing my best.
You
Thank
make
yeah.
incredible sense. And then, listen to me. I need to understand things. That's the kind of personality I am. Things have to make sense to me. What you just said makes complete sense. That will either make you a great actor or not. Being able to mold, right?
Yeah, and I just try to do my best at it, because you never know, you know? There could be something you don't think of where, say you're working with another brilliant actor, which I've had many great experiences of, and the director might just say, you guys are doing great, but this isn't what I want this. But it's good that the director thinks you guys are doing great. But now the director comes over and says, I want this. And then he leads you a different way. So now you and the other actor have to be prepared in a positive way. Now, this is a positive scenario to mold to the director's vision. Dave Patton did it to me on Backfire when I was playing Dominic Savastano in The Warehouse. He came over, he gave me a redirect, and said, do it like this. And I was like, yeah, I was thinking that. I don't know why I didn't go with that. So he comes over, I do it, and then he goes, I'm like, how's that, Dave? You know, be 100% honest, just let me know. I want to bring your vision, you know? And he goes, all right, more. And then, okay, boom, another take. We're getting there, more. And it's like, whew, it's
Wait,
almost like
the
you're...
warehouse scene?
Yeah.
Did he want you to just act more crazier?
He just, I'm not going to say
I
everything
know
we
what it
did,
was.
because
Listen,
if you give all the ingredients,
But he wanted you to be more like, right?
whatever it was, we got there, you know? It's almost like if you think
I
of
love
like the New England Patriots making like
Guys have to say it.
like a game-winning drive, right? You don't have to get the touchdown if you need to win the game and you're down by like 5 points or whatever. You need a touchdown to win. 6 points, you win. You got the Super Bowl. I felt in that moment, Dave made me feel like Tom Brady, and he was like Bill Belichick. Because, all right, we're going to throw this pass, we're going to get the first down. You don't have to throw a Hail Mary here. I want you to do this. Then we're going to get this. Then we're going to run the ball. Then we're going to do this. And before you know it, you have this 90-yard drive, and you win the game. And that's what it felt like when we finished that scene. That's what it felt like to me. I can't speak for Dave. I don't know. Maybe Dave felt something similar. I don't know. I can only speak for myself, and I just felt very good. And I was like, all right, that felt like it. And that's the best analogy I could come up with off the top of my head on what it's like to collaborate with a director when they come over and give you a redirection and bring their vision to light, because that's what Dave envisioned. And it's something that I instinctually thought of but didn't do on the first take.
Okay.
So I was happy that, and that's also experience for an actor, because trust your instincts.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I had my instinct, and I didn't play it at first. So when he came over, I already knew it. So it made it easier because I was prepared. I had the different ways to mold and the different audibles. So when he came over, I was like, oh, I'm actually happy you said that. And then, you know, great experience and perfect situation, just being prepared to change. And I changed completely. And we created something together that I thought is like one of my best scenes that I have.
I love that scene.
so
Guys, you have
far.
to see Backfire,
Yeah.
because you have to see that scene in the warehouse.
Yeah, it felt good to do it. So I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so your instinct. Let's talk about that. And you know what, guys? This doesn't just apply to acting. This applies to life. You know, a lot of us go against our natural instinct, our gut. And I want to say something, and then I'm going to ask you this question.
Sure.
So our gut, right? Everybody, you know, there's a reason why there's that saying, go with your gut, because the gut really controls everything. So the instincts that we have, sometimes we question, sometimes we shouldn't. Okay? You know, like when someone walks into a room and a dog starts barking at the person, I would listen to the dog, okay? But now let's talk about your instincts. So when you're acting and when you're doing this role and you're thinking how you want to do it and what's best and how you should do it, what thought process occurred to make you go against your instinct?
You know, so maybe in that situation, on that first take, I know that we're going to have more takes.
Okay.
I don't really remember because it's so long ago. And
Okay.
sometimes you don't really remember everything you
Okay.
were thinking, you know?
All right.
And I don't know why. Whatever I did on that first take or whatever, it was
Was it confidence, maybe? Nervous to go with it?
maybe it was just second guessing, you know,
Okay.
which I'd be okay with, you know, because I knew that eventually I would go over to Dave or he would come over to me. I could feel it, like instinctually that would happen. But it was a great learning experience because it taught me always go with your instincts.
Yep.
But listen, there's even experienced actors who we know who won Oscars who will come over and say, every once in a while I do the same thing. So it's humbling to hear that because it's like, okay, if they could still make a mistake like that, I'm allowed to. You know what I mean?
You are absolutely allowed to.
So yeah, you know. So
and you grow from, I mean, that's,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
you should be
so-
glad, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm actually glad it happened because
Yeah.
I wouldn't have learned anything valuable if it didn't happen.
Right.
So I said something to somebody recently, and I just said, well, you know what I know now because of what I didn't know then.
Yeah.
So that's the only way you can learn, is by maybe making a mistake or not making a mistake, but not doing it the right way, doing it a different way. But it's going to continually happen. Like, like if you think about it, like Michael Jordan always has a great saying. My acting coach likes to bring it up, and I've heard it from Michael Jordan as well. He'd say, like, think about all the shots that, you miss or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, think about how many times guys get kicked out of the playoffs, but, you're going to lose more playoff games than you win probably. You know what I mean? So you just have to take those experiences they're so educational. They teach you so much. They teach you about yourself, how you handle a loss, and they teach you how you could really rise from the ashes like a phoenix, So anytime something goes wrong, I don't beat myself up about it, because in acting, I'll be in acting class and maybe I didn't do something good. Maybe, and it might have had nothing to do with my instinct. Maybe I didn't come up with the right vision that day, and that's okay, because I'm going to go home and I'm going to practice, and because I didn't get it right, I'm going to learn how to get it right, and I'll become a better actor. There's this video on YouTube of like Picasso, right? He's I think it's him. Yeah, he's making a painting or something like that, right? Obviously, like a legend, one of the best of all time, right? And here goes this legendary artist who will be here long after we're dead, and he's making the painting, and it's a process. He's making mistakes, or it's not what he wants. So he erases the whole thing and he starts over, and he's doing this for hours, maybe days. We don't even know how long. And that's what it is. So no matter how great you are, you're always going to have to go through a process, whether it's creating a painting, writing a novel, creating a character, figuring out what you want to do with the lines, winning a football game. Whatever you take, it's a process. No matter how great you are, you still have to figure out how you want to go about something. And it's great when great people admit it, or you see it, because like you see Picasso, he doesn't really know. He has an idea what he wants the painting to be, but he doesn't know. He's still navigating it, because that's the beautiful thing about art. And no matter how high his IQ was intellectually, or his art IQ, how great he was, he still has to go through the exploration to see where he wants to go and how he's going to get there. And actors do it. Great artists like Picasso do it. And even writers will tell you who write novels. They say, I heard someone say, probably on an advertisement, teaching a class, he said, the rough draft is you just figuring out where you're going, kind of like what I said with Picasso, right? And he said, when you get to the final draft, or whatever the writer term is for it, he said, the final draft is where you pretend you knew what you were actually talking about.
That.
He said, you pretend you actually knew the plot points. And because you do think about it, and it's good to hear someone be honest, right? Which shows the humility and the confidence in how good they are, because, sometimes you think, did they know that this was going to link with this and link with this here? Chapter 1 was going to link with chapter 71, or that thing in chapter 15 came up in book 2. So it goes to show you, they're still figuring it out. And these are some intelligent people and magnificent artists. They're still figuring out as they go along. They don't know all the points. They have to create them, and they have to make mistakes and trip up, and then they get there. So I go through those same processes, and so do they, and they're beyond me. But if I want to get there, I got to know that it's okay to go through those processes, because you don't really know what the picture's going to look like till you finish painting it. And you're going to do it again and again, so it's like, that's what I wanted. I didn't know that's what I wanted, but that is what I wanted, and now I got it.
So I have to comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pablo says, this is what a talk show is all about, having someone you enjoy listening to speak on reality in life. We love you, Pablo.
Thank you, man.
So I want to comment on what you just said, because I'm an artist. I went to art school, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, guys, yes, it was a lot different than today. 1979, I had to take the school, Allentown High School gave me I was the best artist in the school, so they gave me 3 art classes, because only 1,200 students out of like 5,000 were going to be picked to come into the school. Things were very different. So anyway, long story short, they gave me 3 art classes, and I never had this one art teacher all through 4 years until then. My other art teacher, Miss Colasanto, and I love her, I'll never forget her, everything I did was great. Right. Everything I did was amazing and perfect.
Right.
This art teacher
challenged
scribbled
you
on my artwork.
Yes.
So I actually have the photo in here. I'll show it to you. Jethro Tull. okay? Aqualung. I don't know if you know the album cover, but it's an old man, black and white. And I did that, and I had to do a self-portrait in order to get into the school. She took the charcoal and started scribbling on my picture. I was crying. And the next class was Miss Colasanto. I'm crying. I'm like, look what she did.
Yeah.
And she's going like this to me. If you want to get into art school, your black and your darks have to be darks. Your light have to be light. And, contrast. And I was crying. Miss Colasanto said, Jerry, listen, you've been with me for 4 years, and you are a great artist, but she's going to get you into this school.
Right.
She said that to me. And it was because of that, scribbling on my artwork and making me cry, that it got me into the school.
Yeah.
And I'll never, ever forget that, So when you're told your whole life you're great in something by the same people who just love you, you need to be challenged because
you could be so much more.
so much greater,
Yeah.
and that can also hold you back.
Yeah, and it could hurt
Right?
at first,
It could hurt you.
but you'll appreciate it later. Where
Yes.
somebody's not just saying it, where somebody challenges you, because like what your art teacher probably saw in you was like, but you have the potential to be even greater than you are now. So they have to lead you there.
And she wasn't nice about it.
No. and a lot of great teachers, like you'll see great teachers and they tend to have that about themselves. But I guess because there's only one way to get it out rather than lollygagging around. I know some people don't. I guess it all depends, but like I read Larry Moss's book on I think it's The Intent to Live on acting, and he said he hated Meisner for years. For all to know, Larry Moss is like a very popular acting coach. He's like Leonardo DiCaprio's acting coach, and obviously Meisner. Even if you don't know acting, you might have heard of him. The whole Meisner repetition thing.
Okay.
Well, also he's more than repetition. He was a great coach, great teacher. And Larry Moss said in his book he hated Meisner for years because when he was teaching him, Larry Moss just wasn't like opening up like this vulnerability in himself. He just wasn't getting it. And Meisner, he said, could be kind of like intimidating, or I don't remember the words he said in the book, but maybe it could be like abusive in a sense. So what Meisner did was he approached Larry Moss for the scene they were working, and he poked him like in his chest or something, and he backed him up into the chalkboard until Larry Moss broke down and cried. And he said he hated him for years, but it took him like 20, 30 years to where he appreciated him for it because it opened up a whole nother world in his acting craft. And sometimes you need people like that because they're going to get you to it faster. It might feel like the dark side a bit rather than like the Yoda side of the Force, but I think Meisner's intentions were good. They were in the right place. That's the only way he knew to get him there. So if your art teacher has to scribble in your painting and say this ain't good enough, or back you into a wall, make you cry, or do something, it's going to open up doors for you, and hopefully you could emotionally handle it. I'm not saying I support that kind of teaching. I'm just saying that I'm not against it.
She wasn't horrible, but to me,
it felt that way.
It felt that way because I was told for 4 years, and even in grammar school, oh my God, you're the best artist in the school. And here's this teacher. No.
Right.
But it was what I needed.
Yeah,
it was what I needed.
And that's the only way we're going to grow, when somebody sees something, better in you, and challenges you. Because you really can be so much more, and you can't be content with what you are now. And there's people out there that are so magnificent, and they're going to work themselves to the grave till they're as great as they can be.
Incredible, huh?
So you need someone to just say, well, is that all you got? You got one belt, how about winning all the belts? You need to have that drive to truly be great and stay passionate about what you're doing. Because if you can't become greater at what you do, how could you be passionate about it? It's like playing a video game. Once you beat the game, how many times you go back and play the same game?
You're right.
So it's like, okay, I beat it, I conquered it. And then someone says, no, you haven't. You haven't played this role yet.
You're right.
You're a great musician, but you don't play drums. You just play guitar and violin, right? So there's always something to achieve.
So let me ask you, what is your most desirable role you could ever picture yourself in, but also what is your most undesirable role you could ever picture yourself in?
Well, I could tell you my most undesirable role would be an extra, which I'll never be. So,
But wait, okay.
Yeah.
You mean as far as like in case somebody gets sick?
Like like I would never do background. That would be undesirable.
Okay,
To me.
okay,
Yeah, which
yeah, yeah.
I never do background.
Okay.
But just jokingly saying that. I don't think like when it comes to the most desirable role, it's very hard to say that because it comes back to what we were saying earlier, and I kind of have to stick to the same ground. Is that if it's a complex human being and that's going through something, and I could see layers, if it's good storytelling, I want to do it. You know,
No, but wait, let me ask you something.
it could be anything.
But
like,
have you
listen-
ever said to yourself, laying in bed at night,
Mhm.
oh, wow, you know what would be really cool?
Mm-hmm.
I would love to play blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that about like I've laid in bed or been in an audition or I might be in bed or I might be working. I know a lot of monologues. I constantly work monologues at home because and I'll throw this out for most people who don't know, they think they go to acting class once to 3 times a week and that's it. I knew this before my coach even told me because before I even had an acting coach, I worked on my craft every day at home, whether it's learning monologues or reading books or watching videos or studying film, studying TV, good TV shows, or I work different Shakespeare monologues at home. I'm always working on my craft and coming back to when I think of these roles while I'm doing my work at home, isolating myself, is I'll say things will pop up in my head. Like I'll see a character like Walter White on Breaking Bad and be like, man, it would be great to get an opportunity to play something along that line. That's cool, But they're all cool to me. They're all fascinating.
Oh, but you
know?
never say something like, man, I want to play a ghost. Or I want to play,
Definitely. Like Patrick Swayze in Ghost, that's a great character. Like I watched that movie and I'll be like, man, that's a great role to play. It's dramatic. It's romantic. I mean, he's
Incredible.
trying to reconnect with his wife. Then he has to save her. And then like the whole, I mean, it's a great movie. It's great storytelling. I would love to play something like that. From Patrick Swayze in Ghost to a character like
Jack Nicholson.
there you go, Jack Nicholson, and as good as it
Craziness.
gets. That's an awesome character. Like with that, he has that psychotic,
Crazy.
that psychotic level of obsessive compulsive disorder to where he won't touch anything at all, and he's in his house and everything's off limits, and he's stepping on cracks. I mean, that's a great character.
Yes.
And he's mean to people.
Yeah.
Because he hates himself. He hates himself because of his disorder. And he can't touch anything because it's him versus all the germs in the world that are out to kill him. And then, you got a character like Helen Hunt who's, he's just trying to be mean to everyone because he doesn't like himself, And
Yeah.
those characters are awesome. Tony Soprano, I mean, one of the best characters in TV of all time by James Gandolfini. I mean, that's not an easy character to play. People come in, they'll be over the top Guido, mobster. They don't know how to tell the truth. Like to where you become a caricature. Those characters appeal to me.
It's cool.
Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood.
Please,
Damian
yes.
Lewis in Billions. Like,
Yeah.
I love these characters. I want something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. now.
DiCaprio in Shutter Island. I could go on. Like, yeah, all those roles, they're like dream roles for me. If I could
Okay.
obviously not get the same thing because it's already
Right.
been done, but something, you see what I'm saying, something
Yes.
within the area of those types of stories that are interesting
Yes.
and compelling where you get to step inside this character, this human
That
being,
is
and
so
mold yourself to it.
cool. So an actor, John Giovanni Zoino. He is an up-and-coming actor. He's like 50-ish, and he was on my show.
What's up, man?
And
Yeah.
that was an incredible show. John, call in and say hello. We have a few more minutes. John, I made him tell his age, and
Yeah.
I did it for
Yeah,
a reason
yeah.
because I wanted people out there to know it's never too late.
Never too late. Yeah.
And the guy is awesome, and I love him. If you want to call in, John, we'll take your call, okay? Yeah, he's incredible, and
There's
that was
actually
a great
been
show.
real quick. There's actually been like I think like even great writers. I think like I'm rusty on philosophy, but I think the one philosopher Hobbes, he didn't write his first philosophy book till maybe like late 40s, early 50s, maybe 40s, and he's a legendary philosopher. I mean, there's people who do things late in life and they become legends. So you should never shy away or
Never.
give up. If you had 2 years left to
Never.
live, who knows what you could do if you dedicate those 2 years to everything.
Al Contraire from the Mystics wrote his first
Yeah.
book, the Hushabye, the Mystics and the Mob, and he talks about back in the day with doing hip hop on
That's
the streets
awesome.
in New York and the mob being
Yeah.
involved.
Wow, that's crazy.
And he was allowed to use certain names now because they're dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, 80 years old. I mean, think about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Incredible.
That is incredible.
So, wow, incredible. So, what do we have here?
That could even come back to people like being scared to do something, because like even when most people didn't know, because you don't always tell everything about yourself to people. They didn't know I always wanted to be an actor, and they could say, "Oh, what are you, an actor now? You just want to be famous." It's like you don't know anything about me,
I love that.
but people will judge you. So you could
They
be
will.
even in someone who's much older and say, "Well, I'm not in my 20s. If I do it now when I'm 50 or 42, people are going to say that there's something wrong with me, or I'm looking for some type of fulfillment, or what do I want to be famous now? When did you just wake up and say you want to be a writer?" I think that if you wake up one day, I don't care if you're 59, and you just say, man,
love this.
I want to write a novel. I want to write a horror novel. Then write it. Maybe in 5 years you'll write a horror novel and people will buy it. Even if it's 10,000 people, 10,000 people bought your book.
Yeah, I don't like scary novels. Don't make it hard.
Yeah.
Even me, I wrote my book in my 50s. I mean,
Yeah.
think about this. I started radio in my
That's
50s.
awesome. That's so
But the thing
awesome.
is, like, it's never too late.
It's never too late.
I have more certifications than anyone I know. My family used to laugh at me. You're going to school again?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just like to learn and have things, and I use each one to help, so it doesn't matter. And I don't care what people say. See, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
That's what stops you. When you start caring about what other people, it's not even their lives, it's your life, right?
Yeah, and I think, where people say, what do you want to do? There's somebody will meet somebody and let them control their fate. And it's like you may never see that person again. Somebody you spent a year with in college, you might live 70 more years and you never seen that person since senior year. Yet you never pursue what you wanted because one person said something mean to you.
That's right.
Or something that was discouraging.
That's right. So we still have a few more minutes, guys. We are coming to the close of the show, but we have a little bit more time. So again, John, if you want to call in and say hello, anybody out there, the number is 609-807-2492. We'll take another caller. So I want, before we forget, I want you to tell
absolutely.
everyone again out there how to get in touch with you and, your Instagrams, all that good stuff.
So I'm no longer on Facebook. The only thing that's on Facebook is my artist page. If you want to like it and support it, I could still respond to messages on there. You could just type in Dominic Costa, actor. I believe I shared this link to that page.
Okay, good.
I'm mostly on Instagram, and that's Dominic Costa 215. My first and last name 215. I'll spell it out. It's DOMINICCOSTA 215. I pretty much respond to everybody that inboxes me. So if you want to talk to me, follow me. I'll follow you back. I pretty much always respond to everything in my DM. I'm not that active on Twitter. I'm on there, but I feel like Twitter is a dying platform. I'm mostly, my engagement rate's pretty high on Instagram. I like it.
Okay, so Pablo says you could play the lead in a movie of the life of Vanilla Ice just for fun, and I bet you've thought that.
Hey man, I'd be open to it.
Yeah.
I don't know, in Hollywood, like for a role like that, if they made his movie, they would probably pick someone that looked a little bit more like him. But I'd be open to it, man. He's an interesting person who had a very interesting life, and it's funny because a lot of hate that he gets, because Eminem obviously made it his case to destroy him. Eminem, one of my favorite rappers of all time, but Vanilla Ice, everybody loved Vanilla Ice when he first came out. He kind of became like a joke
I think
afterwards.
I did too,
It's ironic. He became a joke because he still goes, like, I think his song still goes platinum because DJs all over the world buy that Ice Ice Baby song.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, Vanilla Ice was good at what he does. He's a good MC, and he has a very interesting story. I've listened to him in interviews. I would definitely play him if he'd let me.
Dom, hey, Pablo, let's work this out, baby, huh? Let's get him to do it. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed. And again, if you want to call in while I'm talking, it's fine. We're going to take one more phone call. We're coming to the close of the show. And first of all, I want to thank you, especially for finally reaching out to me and saying you'd like to be a guest, because I am incredibly honored. And, I say this and I mean it. I felt like your scene was one of the best scenes in that movie, and I just loved it. I knew there was something incredible about you.
Thank you.
And you have an open invitation on any of my shows. I think you're also an incredible person inside and out.
Thank you. It means a lot to me. I feel the same about you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.
Thanks to all those who listened and tuned in.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
So I can't say enough about you, and I'll continue to talk about this show for a long time.
It's awesome.
So I want to let everybody know what's going on out there. So next week on Hamilton Radio, Nick Ferrara, the Philly Elvis, who was also in Backfire, who, because of Nick, I got to meet Dom. I mean, that's such a great circle, right? He will be on with Lou, and that's going to be a great show. I want to tell everybody out there what's happening with me. Favor time, guys. I've never asked anybody out there for a favor. I'm asking you for one now. So, if my shows have touched any of you in any way, shape, or form, negative or positive, okay? I'm asking for a favor. So, I have been nominated for Internet International Hall of Fame. That is big. It's huge. It could be incredible for me. So, I'm asking for people to send a vote in. The email is lowercase l, lbeverly17@gmail.com. lbeverly17@gmail.com. Couple sentences why you think I should be inducted. Okay, guys? I'll find out the end of October. So I would really appreciate that. So I also want to give a shout out to everyone that's helped me get this far, okay? Hamilton Radio, first and foremost, this was where it all started, right here, okay? If it wasn't for Hamilton Radio, no one else would have picked me up. So that's first and foremost. Beverly Nation, okay? Brother O got in touch with me. He was stalking my shows. He said, please come along. And now I'm on Remember Then Radio tomorrow, guys, 2 p.m. every Wednesday. I'm on Damon Looks every other Wednesday at 12:30. PANJ Radio, I was with them for a while. I mean, Rob Bell. Listen, I just want to say thank you to everybody who gave me this incredible platform. But I really want to thank all my guests over the last 3 years because, again, if I didn't have my guests, there would be no show. I mean, we got to understand that, right? You were talking about the pawns on a chessboard. Mm-hmm. So I'm a chess player. I get that. Everybody says that the pawns are the least most important piece. Sorry, I disagree. The pawns are probably the most important pieces because they're guarding the so-called important pieces, okay? Mm. So anyway, I want to thank all my guests over the years. I mean, it's been an incredible journey for me. What a ride, okay? So I thank everybody out there. So guys, we're going to have a few more minutes. Again, if anybody wants to call in, please do. 5 more minutes, and then we'll close the show. Now, Dominic, back to you. Mm-hmm. So, what would you like everyone out there to know? If there was something that you could tell everybody out there about why they should follow you now, why they should watch Backfire and give you their support, what would it be?
Well, I think that if you should follow me if you want to follow back, because most people are, everybody likes to get their followers up.
Yep.
In all seriousness, I mean, listen, I would like you to follow me if you really enjoyed this show. If you enjoyed what I had to say and you think that you connect with me as another person, spiritually speaking, you like what I had to say, and, then you should follow me and, connect with me on there, If you don't, then I would say don't follow me. What's the point? You don't connect with people you don't feel a connection with, right? So if you felt a connection, I'd appreciate the follow and follow you back, and would love to hear from you. And if you want to watch a good action shoot 'em up flick that was shot with like a pizza budget in Philadelphia, Backfire is your movie, and check it out on Netflix and follow me. And if you enjoy the film, which I think you will, I think you'll get some enjoyment out of it. I think you'll like me. I think you'll like the movie. And then you can follow me and stay tuned on what I'm about to do next, and I'll keep you updated. And like I said, I'm very responsive. So if you hit me up, I usually text everybody back on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, my darling. This was incredible. What an interview.
Thank you for having me.
So
Thank you.
cool. So guys, listen, check out the movie Backfire, okay? And don't hate Nick in the beginning, okay? Because he's not that person. You'll see. And this guy, he really is the good guy, okay? Really is. So do me a favor. If you enjoyed today's show, share it. Share the heck out of the show. Make it go viral, okay? I don't care. You can share it to Instagram from Facebook, right? You could do, and he has it on Instagram now. And
it's on
just-
my personal page on Facebook.
Okay,
my artist
share
page.
it everywhere, guys. Okay, do that for us. All right, thank you very much. Okay, cut our mics, Gino.
All right.